Well, BA Shuttle have upgraded their forecast for underlying demand for new dwellings. This is based on very strong growth in overseas migration. Over 2007-08, we expect to see around 175 to 185,000 migrants coming into the country on a net basis. This is a record level, much higher than the previous peak back in 1989 of 160,000. Therefore, we expect underlying demand for new dwellings to be around about 182,000 per annum over the next 5 years, compared to around 160,000 over the previous 5 years. However, we're only building about 150,000 new dwellings per annum, so this is much less than what's required, and this is being shown up in very tight vacancy rates. This means that vacancy rates are tightening very quickly. The balanced market vacancy rate is considered to be about 3%, although most of the major capitals now are at 2% or actually less than that. So we're really seeing some strong rental growth coming through. Given the fact we're not building anywhere near enough that's needed to meet demand, we expect to see vacancy rates remain very tight over the next couple of years, and rental growth of 10% per annum over the next 2 to 3 years is probably not unexpected. Well, we think the market won't move back into balance for quite a while because construction really won't pick up for at least a couple more years. There are still affordability issues in the market, particularly because we do have a rising interest rate environment. So owner-occupiers are not really looking to buy as yet, and neither are investors as well. Despite the first signs of rental growth, they're really not getting the rental yields that are required to actually bring them into the market compared to other forms of investment. Therefore, over the next 1 to 2 years, we don't expect a significant increase in construction until wages growth catches up with prices, until rental growth provides more attractive returns for investors. So we really are not expecting a significant uptick in construction until about 2008-09 or perhaps even 09-10. Yeah, there are a few ways that the federal and state governments can approach this in order to kick up construction earlier. One of the things is looking at the cost side of the equation. A lot of construction, a lot of government imposts are making land prices unaffordable for building a new house land package, and perhaps if some of these costs were removed, a developer could put land on at a cheaper price and make a house land package less expensive relative to some of the other options in the market. There perhaps might be further incentives also for investors to get into the market as well. The lack of land flows through to land prices, and in markets like Sydney, where although we do have increasing numbers of zoned land becoming available, there's also the cost issue, where if you add the development costs as well as government charges, plus the cost of a new home, it's actually very unaffordable for a new home buyer to actually purchase a new house land package, particularly when they can buy something in an adjoining suburb that's only 4 or 5 years old at a much lower price. Over the next 12 months, 2007-08, we're predicting fairly modest growth. The issue of rising interest rates will still dampen price growth, but however, from the demand side, we've also got much stronger underlying demand coming through, so that will serve as a supporting factor behind prices and an upward factor. However, until affordability improves due to strong wages growth, due to higher rental returns, we don't expect to see a further uptick in prices until 2008-09 and 09-10. The levels at which the prices will increase in capital cities varies depending on the affordability of each of those capital cities. So in the case of Sydney, we're only expecting limited growth of about 9 to 10% over the next 3 years, but somewhere like Brisbane, we're expecting 26% capital growth for residential prices over the next 3 years. Melbourne, 19%. Adelaide 23%, and the Perth market, which is very different to the others because that has been fed by the resources boom, we're actually expecting price declines over the next 3 years, totalling about 5% as the resources side of the equation tapers off. Well, affordability is already strained, and we expect that wages growth will somewhat offset some of the interest rate rises, but on the other hand, prices growth will probably still outpace wages growth, so we expect the affordability to become continually strained further and further. However, because that underlying demand is so strong, we expect it to push past the current already strained affordability limits.